Welcome back to Twisted Metal. I am Calypso. For many years, my contest has been responsible for the destruction of major cities all over the world. Some claim that by now I have conquered the world. Little do they know they have been trapped in a nightmare after a massive and tragic highway collision, each one having their own endless dream, and I'm here to provide them with my services, fulfilling their deepest desires by winning my contest. Start your engines, drivers. Let the games begin.
I'm tired of these nightmares. One night I'm a clown, the next I'm driving this car. The dreams are so vivid. Calypso may have let me wake in past contests, but it's not enough. The dreams always return. I stood before Calypso, my hands still trembling from the wheel of my vehicle. Another tournament survived, another win under my belt. But none of that mattered anymore. I told him I couldn't take it any longer. The dreams, it follows every night. No matter how many times I wish to wake up from this dream, there's no escaping it. Every night, it comes back when I sleep. The destruction and madness of the Twisted Metal always comes back when I sleep. I begged him to make it stop. He asked if I wanted him to wake me up again like he had done before, but I knew that trick. I'd been through this loop before. Wake up, sleep, fight, make my wish and wake up again, over and over. No, this time it had to be something different. So I made my wish. I wished never to sleep again. It sounded crazy, maybe even pathetic, but I meant it. If I couldn't sleep, I couldn't dream. If I couldn't dream, maybe I could finally be free of Twisted Metal. He didn't hesitate, so he granted my wish. I didn't feel any different, but something inside of me shifted. I could feel the weight of sleep just vanish. At first, I was ecstatic. I wandered the streets, laughing, feeling lighter than I had in years. I started thinking maybe I could put the pieces back together, get off the streets, maybe even find a job and a real life. But after the third day without sleep, things started to go wrong. Little things at first, shadows moving in the corners of my eyes, voices that didn't belong. Then came the headaches, then the tremors, then the paranoia. By the fifth day, I couldn't tell what was real anymore. I climbed back into Roadkill, thinking maybe the open road would clear my head. As soon as the engine roared to life, I was back in it. Back in the nightmare. The endless crashing of metal and fire. It was happening again. Only it wasn't. It was all in my mind. I wasn't asleep this time. My mind needed rest, but I cannot sleep. Hallucinations took over. I can't even tell what's real or fake. I lost control. I drove like a madman through the city, screaming his name, Calypso, over and over, desperate to find him, to undo what he had done. But he was gone. Nowhere. Now that I couldn't sleep, I couldn't dream. And if I couldn't dream, I could never find him again.
Every time I enter Calypso's contest, I lose more of myself. Now there's much left. No family. Don't feel like I even have a soul anymore. The figure I might as well give myself a new body. If nothing else, it may lessen this pain I feel every day. I spent years in this machine, losing parts of myself, physically and emotionally. When I met Calypso, I didn't ask for revenge. I didn't ask for release. I told him I needed him to replace what remained. I no longer wished to idle amongst mankind. Make me better, I said. Make me superior. He smiled that rotted grin of his and called me Super Axel like it was some kind of joke. But he delivered. A new body, titanium spine, carbon fiber skin. Impenetrable to the assaults that had become my everyday. No pain, no heart. I had dreamed of wandering the planet and finding some peace. I wandered across Los Angeles, New Orleans, Sao Paulo. I watched the lights of civilization flicker and fade. Watched the last screams of mankind echo into silence. The years stretched into centuries. I kept moving. Plant life overtook concrete. The view to the stars cleared. The body Calypso gave me doesn't break, but it rusts slowly. A corroded god wandering a world that can no longer pray. I had abandoned humanity to become something greater. And now, I had no.
Did you miss me, boys and girls? Of course you did. After all, the star of the show never dies. Now I've laughed my way through Calypso's games for years, decades. So this year, I'm asking for something real special. I want this face off. Turns out, permanent makeup really means it. Who knew? So keep your eyes open, boys and girls. Your old pal Sweet Tooth is pulling out every trick in the book this year. I drove right through Calypso's bland little hideout. Car wreckage everywhere. It's a nice touch. But where are all the flames, the colors? A few polka dots here, a splash of red there. It's all so drab. But hey, I don't run the show anymore. Not yet. Then out he comes, grinning ear to ear, clapping like I'm the main attraction. And he's right. I am. I hop out of my truck, pat him on the back and say, "Calypso, you magnificent bastard. What a show you put on. Champions, losers, the whole shebang. Bravo." He smiles wider, waiting for my wish. So I tell him, "Calypso, I slapped this makeup on without reading the fucking label. I thought it would be fun for a laugh, for a night out on the hunt. And it was. But now the damn stuff won't come off, Calypso. And even a clown needs a break from his mask sometimes. So, I wish I could just take it off." He nods. He grants my wish. I laugh, cheer, and I peel it off. And it wasn't just the paint that came away. My whole face came off. Eyes, mouth, skin all gone. Just smooth, blank nothing. The old trickster got me again. And as I literally held my face in my hands, hands. Oh, boys and girls, I laughed. Oh, I laughed so hard. That's a good one, Calypso. You clever son of a bitch. I threw my hands around him, hugged his guards like we're one big happy family. Then I sliced his throat open like an early Christmas present and let it pour. I picked up my face, slapped it back on, and turned to Calypso's bleeding body. His wounds healed almost as soon as he hit the ground, and he wasn't laughing anymore. He demanded I leave as his guards drew their rifles on me. I got back in my truck and drove into the night. I may not have been able to kill Calypso, but I have a new trick for next time. And next time, I'll show him just how sweet I can really be.
These gang wars, man, I'm done. Lost all my homies, killed by them rivals. Now it's just me, but I need them back. I know Calypso's twisted games. If I wish right, he'll bring them back. This war ain't over.
Big Dog, the driver of Thumper, crashes through my glass window, flames blazing around him like he's putting on a show.
Yo, Calypso, I won, man. Where my prize at?
He shouts, not even letting me get a word in. He's clearly in a rush. Well, Big Dog, you know the deal. What is your wish, I ask.
Aye, all my boys dead, Calypso. We was in the middle of that war, and they got smoked, you feel me? This beef ain't done. I need them back. Bring my crew back so we can finish these fools off.
So, your wish is to bring your homies back from the dead? I ask, clarifying.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now bring them back, man.
Your wish is granted, driver. We roll up to the neighborhood where his crew had been left to rot, ignored by the world, discarded. But that's just part of the game, my twisted contestant. Raising my hands, I pull the dead back to life. Of course, they aren't fully alive. They're all zombified, just shadows of what they used to be. As they rise, they lock eyes on Big Dog and start staggering his way, bodies deformed and decayed. Big Dog takes one look and grimaces, his face twisting in disgust as they shuffle closer.
Hey, yo, Calypso, this ain't what I asked for, man.
He snaps. They're alive, after all. Even though he's grossed out, Big Dog shrugs and accepts his undead crew, quickly scheming with them. They roll up on their rivals' homes and storm in, taking them out one by one. Bullets can't do much to these zombies. They're unstoppable. But Big Dog, the only one still breathing, seems to forget he's not invincible. One of his rivals catches him slipping and shoots him down. Still, his undead crew manages to finish the job, wiping out every last one of their enemies. Who knows? Maybe one of his hobies will be cool enough to step into next year's contest to wish him back to life. Until then, we'll just have to wait. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
You'd think I'd have war stories for the grandkids. Truth is, I never got drafted, just trained, moved around camps, did paperwork at a desk, never saw any action. I'm near the end now. and I'm no war hero.
Mission accomplished. Those other contestants didn't know what they were messing with. I may be old, but by gum, I showed those whippersnappers what this old soldier could do. If a geezer like me could beat them, then clearly they weren't ready for real battle. I rode up to Calypso's compound, and the first thing I noticed was how sloppy his men were. Weak, undisciplined. The kind of boys who wouldn't last a day out on the field. Hell, they probably wouldn't make it past breakfast. I climbed out of my war machine, and there stood Calypso, right before me. He gave me a salute. Naturally, I returned it. He told me to stand at ease, and said he was impressed, that it was always a pleasure to see a member of the armed forces compete. He could tell I wasn't new to combat, but he was wrong. I admitted the truth, ashamed as I was of it, that this was my first time. Told him I did serve, sure. I was in the jungle wars, but I never saw the front lines. I just pushed papers at a desk while real men fought and died. Real heroes. I told him if I had been out there, some of them might still be alive. That's why I entered his damp contest. Told him my wish to be sent back in time to the Battle of Sanguis River, me and my trusty vehicle. I knew, deep in my bones, I could turn the tide, but Calypso warned me. Said war was dangerous business, that I wouldn't come back, even if I'd survived the battle. But I didn't flinch. I said that if there was even a chance I could save just one life, that was a price I'd pay gladly. He looked at me with something almost like respect. Then he granted my wish. And just like that, I was there. In the shit! The jungles of South America. The air thick with heat and smoke. The sharp crack of distant gunfire rang through the trees. The smell of sweat and fear hit me all at once. But I was ready. I was heading for Warthog when I heard someone shout for me to stay out of the forge. The voice was familiar. Captain Spears. I remembered. He died in this very war. Ambushed while his squad waited for him. I caught sight of one of them Benghazi bastards holding a rifle to Spears. I pulled my sight off and put one right in the bastard's skull. Not before he clipped me good. Real good. Spears come running over, stunned. He recognized me even as an old man. Called my name like he couldn't believe it. He asked if Calypso sent me back too. Even through the pain, I managed to chuckle and told him, yeah, he did. Reached into my pocket and offered him the keys to Warthog. Told him to take it. Said I wouldn't be needing it where I was going. He tried to protest. Told me we could get help, get me patched up. I cut him off. I told him his men needed him more than I did. Said I was just an old fart who'd slow him down. I told him to go before more of them bastards showed up. He looked like he was gonna cry, and I never thought I'd see a man like Spears do that. But he gave me a salute and took off toward Warthog. Some folks might say my death didn't mean much. They might say it was just one more body in the mud. But I know better. One man in the right place at the right time can make all the difference. And even if I'm just bones in the dirt now, for a brief, shining moment, I was a real soldier, damn it. Duty, honor, Semper Fi!
I possessed this body to reconnect with my family. As a ghost, I couldn't just possess anyone. My family wouldn't believe a stranger, but they love this actor. So I'm hoping they will listen long enough for me to explain it's really me. I've won. But this wasn't my car. Not really. I stumbled out of Spectre. Limbs clumsy and stiff inside a body that wasn't mine either. I could feel the faint blue glow of my spirit bleeding through Brad Ditch's skin as I approached Calypso. He smiled at me, full of fanfare and cheer. I could see the recognition in his eyes. He thought he was meeting Brad Ditch, the celebrity, the fan favorite. He was excited. Said something about being a big fan of Brad's work in Brawl Society. But it wasn't Brad standing there. It was me, wearing him like a meat suit. I explained it as best I could. Told him I just borrowed the man. That I needed him to speak to my family. Calypso's smile faltered just a little. He seemed disappointed. He was hoping for an autograph. But even so, he acknowledged my win. I had survived Twisted Metal, though I hadn't truly meant to enter in the first place. He asked me what I wanted, what I wished for. I told him the truth, that I died in one of his contests. I wasn't even a competitor, just collateral damage. But I wasn't here for revenge. No, that wasn't it. What I wanted was simple. I didn't want to look like some twisted ghost puppeting a dead man. I wanted to look normal. Just for a little while. Just long enough to say goodbye to my family. I wanted my wife to see Brad Ditch at her door. Her favorite actor. Said she'd listen to him. Through his face and voice, I could tell her everything I never got the chance to. That the ghost of her husband is inside of Brad Ditch. I could give her closure, maybe even peace. And then, I'd move on. I begged Calypso, just a small favor. Let me appear human while it's inside Brad Ditch's body. Just for a moment. Just long enough to see her again. Calypso smiled like he was handing out candy. Called it a noble act. And then, with a flick of his hand and a flash of unnatural light, I felt my grip on Brad's body solidify. No more spasms, no more ghostly twitching. I looked alive. I thanked him, genuinely, and rushed back to Spectre, driving faster than I ever had before. The house still stood like I remembered. Quiet, familiar. I knocked on the door, and she answered. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. Or rather, when she saw him. Her favorite star. She smiled wide, full of excitement and relief. But not everything was all hunky-dory. She called me Brad. Told me she was so glad I came. That she had gotten rid of her loser husband. Me. She'd made it look like I died during the Twisted Metal contests, claiming now they could finally run away together, like she and Brad had planned. And I stood there, frozen, feeling like a ghost again. She had planned my death. She had chosen this fantasy over the truth. I wasn't her husband in her eyes. I was just some obstacle in the way of her delusion. Brad Ditch wasn't my tool. He was my replacement. No wonder why I found him so easily in my town. And in that moment, I realized that what I thought was closure was just another grave.
Why settle for one dang wish? I ain't no fool.
I'll tell old Calypso I want me a genie. Genies give you a whole heap of wishes. He won't see it coming. I know his tricks, but I'm one step ahead. Gotta get what I want. This year I done did it right. Didn't crash no gates or nothing. Got me an invitation and everything. Yes sir, I rolled up in style. Showed up in a rig I done been myself from busted up parts and whatever didn't explode last year. And now look at me, winner of this year's Twisted Metal. Old Calypso comes slithering up all smug and shiny, talking about how I didn't bring that fancy RV he done gave me last time. I just grinned real wide. No, that party thing sitting back in the bayou high and dry. Ain't no way I'm scratching it up in all this carnage. Nah, I built this baby right here out of twisted metal, chewing gum, and a whole lot of stubborn. He squinted at me like a possum trying to do math, then asked if I was wanting another RV, and left out a big old belly laugh. Oh no, I ain't asking for no dang RV again. That's a rookie move. I thunk on it real hard and I figured, one wish a year? That's for chumps. I need me a pile of wishes, like a whole dang warehouse full. That way I ain't gonna keep coming back here fighting folks with flamethrowers and monster trucks every year just for one lousy prize. He started getting all serious, like speaking slow like he's talking to a tree stump, saying how he only grant one wish, that he ain't got no genie. And that's when it hit me like a banjo on my head. A genie, I hollered. That's what I need. I want me a magic genie lamp. One of them that gives you wishes out the wazoo. Infinite wishes, Calypso. That way I can get all I want, anytime I want. Get her done. He scratched an eyebrow like he just smelled something weird, but he handed me this shiny old lamp. I snatched it up like a hot biscuit and gave it a good rub. Nothing happened. I shook it, flipped it, even smacked it against my knee. Still nothing. This here lamp's empty, Calypso, I barked, holding it up like a dead squirrel. He just started laughing like a tickled mule. He tricked me. He say I only asked for a genie lamp, and but not for the genie. That's when I lost it. Oh, you son of a gun, I roared, grabbed him by his scrawny neck and shoved him right into that dang old lamp like stuffing a raccoon in a mailbox. Now he's stuck there, forever. Now every time I holler, he pops out like some sad little ghost and grants my every wish. He brews my swamp coffee, rubs the rust off my truck, tunes up my banjo. Calypso thought he was smart. Cousin Eddy don't appreciate tricks.
Winning the tournament will fix me up right. I'm gonna get the biggest truck the world has ever seen and dig my monster truck rally out of its hole with a spectacle that people will never forget. I almost feel bad. My sweet rally queen brought me to the finish, only for me to replace her. I keep saying, you take care of your truck, and your truck takes care of you. But I'm a man. I need bigger and better. After a few accidents, which weren't that big of a deal anyway, people stopped showing up to my local monster truck rally. Hell, other drivers even stopped showing up for work. It's been hard to put on a show when the local paper ran every story about stadium seats collapsing and rodeo clowns getting in the way of the stuntmen. Always embellishing like. So I tell Calypso, yeah, give me something big. The biggest damn truck this planet has ever seen. The cream of the crop. Ain't nothing in existence these wheels won't be able to crush. He gave me that fruity little smirk and said some abracadabra mumbo jumbo. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. The stadium was packed like a Japanese subway car. The crowd was about to witness the unstoppable demolition from the biggest monster truck of all time, the Slayer! The engine's rumble was a war cry. I revved it once, and the ground trembled like God dropped the hammer. And I said to God, we're gonna get out of this hole if it's the last thing I do. I lined her up. I'm high on life and fumes and just a bit of ketamine. Pushing the pedal to the floor, air horns blast. I launch off the ramp into the sky like I'm heading towards the moon. I was the Neil Armstrong of monster truck drivers. But then gravity pulled me back down, keeping me humble. As the truck landed, I prepared for that bounce with these massive tires, but I didn't ricochet. What happened was like a space cannon shooting a crater into the ground the way it opened. Worse than any jerry-rigged stadium seating. The hollow terrain swallowed us as my truck crushed the very ground we stood on. Falling further into the earth, I tried to dig myself out with her, but it pulled us back in. First it got cold, and then, as we fell deeper, it got really, really hot. Before the show, I gifted my dear old ma my old truck Hammerhead. I just hope she can raise hell and get us out of here.
My friend Simon, he built big tower, yes. His obsession, it killed him in the end. Now nobody is in charge, and big tower, big mess. I tell you now, tearing down this thing, not safe. Not safe at all. Reached finish line, step out of truck, covered in dust and little bit of someone else's engine oil. Calypso stands there, looking like scrawny little weasel in fancy suit. He says I win. Of course I win. I demolish very well. I tell him, too much destruction, so many buildings ruined, so much mess. It's beautiful. I can't wait to rebuild. Concrete, steel, rebar. Oh, it sings to me. But there is problem. Big job I take before contest. Whittlebone Tower. Very tall. Too tall. Like stupid tall. I take one look at blueprint and I say, oh boy, you're going to need big boom for this one. But boom, not always smart. Boom can go wrong. Building falls wrong way, whole block gone. So I look Calypso in eyes and I say, ask to help me, da? Make tower just go away. Poof. No boom, no rubble. Just gone. He looks at me funny, but I am serious man. Demolition must be safe, or what is point? He asks again to make sure he heard me right. I nod. Da, gone, like it never even exists. And just like that, he does magic poof. Tower, gone. Vanished like vodka at a Russian wedding. I don't hear boom, don't see dust. Just big, empty space where giant toothpick building used to be. I scratch my chin, feeling proud. That was easy, I think. But then, Earth go funny. I feel ground wobble like drunk on icy sidewalk. Whole world starts to spin faster and faster. Buildings start to lean. Water sloshing over icy streets. Turns out, Whittlebone Tower was so tall it was holding planet steady. Like paperclip in paper stack. You take it out, now everything goes brrrr. Oops. I stand there, watching city fall down like bad Jenga game. Well, time to work.
Names are for friends, so I don't need one. What matters is the mission at hand, and meeting with Calypso is the most important mission I've ever been given. I've done a lot of preparations for tonight, and if everything goes to plan, the world will be a much better place tomorrow morning. Driving into Calypso's lair behind the Wheel of Crimson Fury, my body was running on fumes, but the mission had to be completed. Enemy combatants were neutralized, and I was the tournament's winner. I stepped out and scanned the compound, already running threat assessments. His men were armed to the teeth, and not many exits. Calypso was not a gambling man, and made sure to leave no room for party crashers. Calypso stood there, easily identified by the burn scars on his face. He had a condescending tone, expecting yet another FBI agent bold or foolish enough to confront him in person. He assumed I was here to arrest him. I didn't blame him. Previous agents have done so, but that wasn't my objective. He asked me my wish, and I told him what the Bureau had sent me for. I entered Twisted Metal not for myself, but to deliver a proposal. The Bureau wanted Calypso's chaos controlled and weaponized. We offered him a full pardon and protection in exchange for steering his contests away from the US and directing them only where they're more useful. Places where rebellion and other threats to our great nation have been forming. Calypso paused, and for a brief moment, I saw something rare in his eyes. Surprise, possibly disgust. He asked if I was sure that's what I wanted. He'd offered me anything. The world was my oyster, and it was truly my prize to have. I wasn't interested in what he could offer, or the possibilities he has to jeopardize everything. I reminded him that I'd won the contest, that a deal was a deal, and he would grant my wish, or the failsafe I'd planted would level his entire compound to a crater. I wasn't bluffing, and he knew it. Eventually, he relented and had his guards lower their weapons. I handed him the file and walked away. Christmas came and went, and I thought I'd done the impossible, that I'd channeled the madness into something strategic and contained. But I should have known better.
My brother caused this. I have no mouth. He wished for me to shut up, and Calypso erased my mouth. Maybe I should have let my brother kill that bastard. When I win, I could just wish my mouth back. Or just end it all.
Jamie Roberts, the driver of this year's Outlaw, a vehicle coincidentally always driven by someone trying to uphold the law, barged in without a warrant. Despite her authority, she was unable to read me my rights without a speaking voice. Last year, her brother Carl wished for her to shut up, and she hadn't been able to flap her gums ever since. "Congratulations, Jamie," I said, smirking. And what is your wish? Oh, I'm sorry. Cat got your tongue? She revved her engine, trying to intimidate me. Did you forget your interpreter? I taunted. She stared forward, understanding the risk too well. Instead of making a wish, I heard her engine roar, pummeling toward me, fury in her eyes. She slammed into me, pinning me against the wall, keeping her foot on the gas, as if to push me further into the concrete. My body, broken and severed, she got her revenge. As if that was going to stop me from returning to rule this competition.
What's your There's a damn psycho 18-wheeler ramming onto me. Send help! What's your general vicinity? Diablo Pass. 66. Now get it over with. I don't got much time. Shit. Not yet. All units. 1154 in Diablo Pass. Exert caution. I repeat. Exert caution. Suspect is highly dangerous.
The black semi-truck known as Darkside rolled in slowly, its horn still trying to impose menace through the night. I waited for the driver to approach me, yet only the window lowered, revealing inescapable darkness. A pair of red glowing eyes pierced the shadows and hit me like a dart. Smoke coiled from the door as he pointed at my vehicle. He beckoned me to follow. He wanted another challenge. Revving my engine, I'd figured I'd deal with him easily. We tore through the city streets, his monstrous semi-truck chasing me down, until eventually he forced me off the highway. I fell, and when I hit the ground, I woke up. Sometimes I forget this twisted world is my creation, a nightmare for those lost in comas after the accident. But ever since I stole these powers, something haunts me. Mr. Ash, forever in pursuit, clawing his way into my dreams. Have you ever felt that strange pull in dreams, driving off a cliff only to wake up before you crash? For me, it feels more than a dream, a warning, a dare to escape the world I built.
Employed by hell, concealing what I've been ordered to collect. I'll place the fault on someone else. The devil expected me to collect for him, riding the line between life and death, collecting souls that are ready to go. But somewhere along the way, I got hungry. A few souls here and there. Didn't think he'd notice if I skimmed a little off the top. I figured it was harmless, a perk of the job. But you know how it goes. You take a little, you want more. Pretty soon, I couldn't stop. The numbers got low, and when the boss came knocking, I needed someone to blame. Calypso. Wasn't hard to sell it. I said his tournament's losing its luster. The devil agreed that it didn't quite pull the numbers of a full-scale war, or even a simple genocide. Said it was time to pull the plug on Calypso Industries. So, I rode up to the smug bastard's tower and told him his services were no longer needed. Consuming his soul, that was something else. Like swallowing a bloody mist, electrified with lightning. One of the greatest highs I fear I'll never feel again. Minion will be happy to have his old job back.
The FBI kept turning my body into a cyborg bomb. using me to get close enough to kill my father. But I escaped, disabled the bomb, and now I can return to him safely. He'll help me get rid of these metal parts. I won. I won the Twisted Metal contest. Again. I pulled into the compound like I'd done before. Or maybe I only thought I did. It's all starting to blur together now. Every version of this feels the same, leading me back to him. My father stands there, the master of the contest. And in a touching moment, he asks where I've been. I want to tell him. I try to tell him, but how do you explain being turned into a bomb by the LAPD, dying and returning as a ghost? Well, he already knows how it always ends anyways. I don't even know what I am anymore. The FBI says they rebuilt me every damn time. They say it'll keep on happening, over and over. As long as this twisted contest keeps spinning its wheels, I get rebuilt and repurposed. I tell him that I escaped from them, that I found a way to stop the bomb before it detonated this time. All I want for him now is to remove the metal, the wires, the steel, the blinking lights in my arms and legs. I just want to be me again. But then he looks at me. I can tell he already understands what I'm asking. If he removes the metal, there'll be nothing left. I watch him hesitate for a second. There's a lot of guilt in his eyes. I've asked him for the one thing he doesn't know how to give, as if there's a different way to grant my wish. That he won't tell me. As he grants my wish, I wake up in the hospital room. Cold light, beeping machines. My hands, my real hands, tremble as I reach toward the figure beside me. It's him, my dad, in a coma now, lying still, the same way I was. He gave me everything he had left, sacrificing his own consciousness to wake me from my coma. After the accident that took us both down, he stayed conscious. He watched me and all the victims relive the worst versions of ourselves in our dreams. And as much as he enjoys seeing them in pain, he was always reminded that I was there, that he has a family. When he saw what it was doing to me, he chose to end it. The others are waking up too, one by one, waking up and leaving in just a matter of days. But I stay sitting beside him, waiting. Because if he could be with me in my nightmare, I could stay with him in his.
I know my boy's out there. He's in trouble. I never should have tossed him out in the streets. Worst mistake I ever made. I've got to put down every last bastard here just for the chance to see him again. I'll do it.
I show up at Calypso's place riding the same cab I've been driving for who knows how long. Rusty, loud, beat to hell, but hey, still runs. I ain't even supposed to be here. I wasn't on the guest list, but when you've got family involved, you don't wait for an invite. Pull up, the guy's looking at me like I'm lost. Maybe I am, maybe I ain't. Hard to say these days. He's standing there, smug, asking if I took a wrong turn or something. I tell him I'm looking for my son. Haven't seen the kid in God knows how long. Not since things went south and the whole damn world started burning and he... Well, you know the story by now. A guy like my son doesn't exactly keep in touch. I figure if he showed up anywhere, be here, Twisted Metal. It's his birthday, see? And I brought him something. Oh yeah, a little surprise. An olive branch.
stage. Calypso's just staring at me like I'm nuts. Probably thinking this old cabbie's finally lost it. Not that I ever had it, really. He tells me, winning, I get one wish. So I tell him, take me to my son. Boom, wish granted. Just like that. Next thing I know, I'm at Blackfield Asylum. My car watching a prison bus pull out. And who do I see in the back? My boy, Needles. Still got that twisted little smirk on his face like nothing's changed. They're taking him away like they can keep him locked up like a fucking animal. Not on my watch. I ram the bus full speed, send it flying. Guards go down like bowling pins. I drag his ass out of there like it's nothing. He looks up at me, real calm, real quiet, like he knew I was coming. I hug my son tight and tell him I'm sorry for not understanding, for being a no-good bastard that turned his back on him, and that I loved him, and that I was proud of the man he's become. And then I took him to my car so he could get his birthday gift. When I opened up the trunk, and when he saw what was back there, Needles lit up like a kid on Christmas. Tells me this is the one that got away. This is the one that made him look stupid. The little bitch is inside, tied up, shaking, barely breathing. When I heard she pointed a gun at my son, stole his ice cream truck, humiliated him. Right after he won the first time, I was livid. I spent several years tracking her down, wanting to make sure she got what was coming to her. Nobody makes a fool of a Kane. I let Needles have his fun, and let me tell ya, he made her scream real good. The way he made her bleed, the way she begged, the way he didn't hold back, it brought a tear to my eye. I was so proud of him. When he was all done, he put on the finishing touches. We were gone, vanished like ghosts. Later on, they find what's left of her. What's left of her body was painted up like a fucking clown. Pretty little Glasgow smile carved in her face, dumped on an old carousel like a bad memory. The only clue they found was a simple note which read, "Don't touch my fucking truck!" People call him evil, sick, deranged. Me? I call him family. I've entered this contest before, but every time I destroy a vehicle, the explosions just ruin the bodies. Bodies I could have embalmed. Maybe the families would want a proper burial. Business is business after all.
I rolled up to him slowly. My hearse creaked like a coffin with every bump. From the back of my hearse, the whispers of the lost souls sang. The dead who gave no grave or no peace. They'd ridden with me for a long time. I could feel this sorrow deep in my bones. Calypso greeted me as he always did. The twisted smile, that mockery of warmth. He remembered the last time I came offering a gift, and he made it clear, no offerings this time. And that was fine. I didn't come here to barter or beg. I was here on business. Furthermore, I told him as much. This time, I came with only one intent, and that was to give the dead their last rites, to help them pass on properly. That was all. I spoke professionally, but on the inside, the burden I carried was immense. The grief of countless mothers, fathers, siblings, so many broken families, aching for closure. Some were lucky, they got to bury their dead. Others never even found a trace, just silence and the ache of doubt. I couldn't resist, not until every soul had their peace. The thought of one person searching forever and never knowing where their loved one went, it tore at me. Many times the destruction of the twisted metal leaves nothing to bury. Calypso asked what I wanted. I told her I wanted the ability to find the remains of the dead, every one of them, no matter how long they've been lost. And he granted it to me with a wave of his hand. Just like that, a compass was buried deep inside my chest, always pulling me towards the next forgotten grave. I could feel every bone calling out to me. Some would scream, others would whisper. So I got to work. I dug through the ruins of war, the shadows of disaster, the craters of the twisted metal arenas. I waded through swamps and through collapsed mines. Wherever the dead had been left behind, I went. I returned fragments to families, reunited broken names and their stories. I gave comfort where there only been mystery and silence. The souls in my hearse quieted, one by one, as they were finally laid to rest. But the work was never done. Every year, more desolation, which leads to more lost souls. And I made a vow that I would not stop. Not until every wandering ghost had a place to rest. Not until every whisper in the dark finally faded to peace. I will bury the dead till there's no more to bury.
After catching my husband in bed with my sister, getting ejected from the racing circuit, and my house mysteriously burning down, I need a timeout. Calypso says he can slow things down for me. It's as if my wish was fulfilled as soon as I entered Calypso's building. I pulled my helmet off in slow motion, the reality of my win invigorating me. After the past few years I've had, I needed a fix no drug could fulfill. I needed the world to slow down for a moment, for me to catch up. I wished that time would freeze, so I could just take a moment to breathe. The whole world froze. People, traffic, wind, the sun. Like someone hit the pause button on the remote of reality. Yet I was still cruising, and nothing could hurt me. No heartbreaks, no job terminations, no death of loved ones. I took full advantage of the motionless streets to drive at any pace I pleased. The thing is, I got too cocky with all that freedom. Reckless. I took a corner too fast, flipped over the guardrails, flew over a ledge, tumbling down a hill in my vehicle, nearly crushing me in it on the way down until I got to the very bottom, across the road from an enormous hospital. Bleeding and with broken bones, I crawled toward the entrance of the ER, but the MDs just stood there, unable to help, and I succumbed to my injuries and my hubris.
I was recruited for the Twisted Metal contest, worked tirelessly to weaponize my vehicle, and then found out it was canceled. Seriously, Calypso? What, were you too busy celebrating Christmas with your family? Don't mess with me, man. I didn't care if I wasn't on the roster this year. I crashed anyway, smashed my way through Calypso's competition like it was nothing but cardboard cutouts. They didn't see me coming. None of them did. But I didn't come for vengeance. I came for answers and my damn wish, the one he promised me back in Harbor City. He said he'd get me out of that hellhole of an asylum, and then I'd get my shot like everybody else. But the contest never came. The guard said it was canceled. Canceled? Twisted Metal? That lunatic never cancels. So when I saw the new contest fire up and I saw the roster without my name, oh, I lost it. I found him right in his hideout, walked straight up to the smug bastard after tearing through his contest hands like tissue paper. He looked amused, like I was some joke. Did he even dare try to congratulate me? Hell no. He stood there smirking, asking why I was doing here, acting like he didn't know why I was pissed. I reminded him, told me he canceled on me. I told him he promised me for a wish for competing in Harbor City and then vanished. He brushed it off, casual as ever, claiming there'd been a plane crash. Said most of the contestants died and he had no choice but to cancel due to a lack of contestants after the crash. Well, I called him out on his bullshit. He ran a whole damn tournament in 2012 with only 3 people. But here he goes on defense saying they were in gangs. And now he's acting like that was too much to handle. I demanded the truth. Finally he gave it. Sort of. Said he got tired of the format. Said people were getting out of their cars too much. And then he wanted to reinvent the whole thing. But apparently that didn't work out. So now he's back to the basics. Car versus car, carnage on wheels. I didn't give a damn about his excuses. All I wanted was my wish. And that's when he asked me what I wanted. I froze. It had been so long. My mind was scrambled. The years in that padded room, the engine smokes and screams. I couldn't remember what I wanted. I told him, well, man, I forgot what I was going to ask for, Calypso. I really wish I did, but I really don't remember. But then he erupted, simply shouting, "Redhead!" Just like that. Said he granted my wish to remember my wish. And just as the details came flooding in, sharp and burning, I shouted for him to stop. But it was too late. He laughed. That bastard laughed as his goons dragged me away, saying I could always try again next year. If I still remembered. I can't. I shouted, but he got me. He just chuckled like the devil himself, watching from his throne of twisted metal and lies. But I ain't done yet. You hear me, Calypso? Next year, you're mine.
Ah, well. Another contest is on the horizon. Another year, even more chances to shine. But these contestants, they don't really seem up to scratch. I bet I could find way better challenges for next year's Twisted Metal. I rolled up on the gates of Calypso's compound, my custom stretch limo gleaming under the flames of the battlefield. Real VIP entrance energy. Not a single scratch on my car. That's called winning in style. Calypso stepped out to greet me, arms wide, giving me the grand prize winner spiel, telling me that I'd won Twisted Metal like I didn't already know. Now I smiled and said something charming about how wild the contest was and how all the other contestants were probably burning in hell. I even joked about recruiting for next year. I could tell he was watching me closely, probably wondering what I'd wish for. But see, I wasn't here for some personal wish. Nope. I told him I had something better in mind. A bit of a gift to myself. He looked at me curious, maybe even intrigued, eyes flickering towards the limo, and I told him straight up. Inside that limo, I had gathered a collection of next year's potential contestants, hand-picked top-tier talent from across the world. Most wanted criminals, thrill-seekers, desperate souls, maniacs with nothing to lose. Perfect fodder for his next contest. People who lived for chaos. He could practically hear the destruction just waiting to happen. See, I was real proud of this little surprise. I even handed him the remote. I told him that if he wasn't interested, he could always press the button and boom! Send them straight to hell in the prettiest explosion you've ever seen. They didn't know that part, of course. Made it more fun. Calypso paused, thought about it longer than I expected. Then he told me no. He claims it was the fun was picking out his own contestants, getting inside their heads, and twisting their wishes in just the right way in the end. He liked that personal touch, and I respected that. No hard feelings. He said he might call on me in the future if he was ever low on options, and I gave him a grin. I told him I'd be around and hopped back into my limo and drove off into the sunset like the classy bastard I am. Looking at Calypso in my rearview mirror, I noticed he still had that remote in his hand. Then it dawned on me. I forgot to get it back. Why did I jump back in that limo? As for Calypso, well, he couldn't help himself. He pressed that button. The explosions lit up the sky like the 4th of July on steroids. The whole limo up in flames. Best damn fireworks I ever supplied, and I didn't even get to watch.
After working as a first responder to previous Twisted Metal tournaments and seeing the devastation it causes, I'm here to put an end to Calypso's sick games.
A vehicle unlike the others rolled up to my compound, not plated in skulls nor graffiti, but flashing emergency lights and dust. A rescue truck. I recognized it as the kind of vehicle one would see upon the completion of the tournaments, after the engines cooled and the streets were slick with blood and oil. Amanda Richards, the driver of Mayday, the cleanup crew, the afterthought. She was the one pulling children out from crushed school buses, their little arms still clutching melted toys. She was the one peeling survivors off the pavement, promising them they'd make it, knowing full well they wouldn't see the next intersection.
After all the hell and death, devastation, and near genocide this tournament presents, I can't eat. I can't sleep. I just wish I could forget it all. I wish I could forget everything.
Forget everything? But of course. She forgot the names of the people she failed. She forgot the weight of broken bodies, the scent of melted people in her truck. She forgot how to speak, how to walk, how to clamor on social media for attention. She forgot who she was. Starting life anew, a blank slate with no trauma, no superior, no direction. This is exactly the fresh start she needed. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
The Vatican has sent me to put a stop to the Twisted Metal competition, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Calypso's heart has wandered too far into darkness. Simply telling him to find God won't be enough.
A man devoted to God, Henry Strange, arrived in his vehicle, Holy Roller. He stepped out, Bible in one hand and a gun in the other. I had heard the Vatican wasn't too fond of my Twisted Metal contest, but it seems they've relaxed their feelings on firearms. Congratulations, Father! You are the winner of this year's Twisted Metal. He didn't respond, but approached me, pointing that pistol at my face. With his eyes closed, he began reciting the Lord's Prayer. He thought himself something of an executioner. Smiling, I leaned forward, pressing my forehead against the cold barrel of the gun, staring straight into his eyes. Prayers will not save my soul, Father. Pull the trigger and see what happens. It's what Jesus would do, isn't it? Henry stopped praying and opened his eyes. Lowering his gun, he muttered,
I see pain. Calypso, only someone in immense pain could do what you are doing. I suspect you didn't have a childhood. You've lost something, someone close to you, and you blame yourself every day for it.
So, are you going to make your wish?
I do have a wish, Calypso. Now I do. I wish for you to have whoever you lost back.
He made his wish and walked away without warning. I granted it and felt nothing. But the following tournament brought a familiar car to the arena.
I thought we'd be reunited in hell, but I hear you left after making a deal with the demon. You forgot about me, didn't you? That's okay, I guess. Mom and Dad let me use their wagon, so maybe I can find you.
I had noticed a familiar-looking car in this year's competition, a yellow station wagon from the 1960s. And who should step out of the vehicle but my dearly departed sister? When we were children, I came across a copperhead snake in our parents' driveway. For fun, I got into their car to back it over. Without even looking, I stomped on the gas pedal, not realizing my dear sister had followed me outside to play. I never forgot the sound of her screech as the tires and undercarriage tore my sibling to shreds. Here she was, again in the flesh, still with the wounds of my doing, holding her doll like time had barely passed. I'm in shock. It was you this whole time? And you've won? Oh, how I've missed you. I will grant you any wish you desire, I said to her. On a note, she wrote simply, "Bring us back to 1968. Let us start again." I hugged her and granted her wish. And back we were to 1968, everything exactly as it was. My sister holding her doll, ready to play. I watched the Copperhead slither away. Not having competed since I reclaimed the tournament from that freak Sweet Tooth, I'd figured I'd knock the rust off and enjoy the destruction from a closer point of view. Now, I suppose you could argue it was unfair of me to fight in my own tournament, but I couldn't help myself. Ever since I had to fight to gain back my contest from Needles, I have had a craving for car combat that hasn't been satisfied in ages. My joy was short-lived when my boss Satan appeared before me, barking at me about having entered my own contest. Oh, he was furious. I tried to explain myself, but he kept cutting me off with threats that he would find someone else to do my job. From there, it was more arguing back and forth between us, and I told him that Twisted Metal is mine. No one can accomplish what I have done with my creation. With his short temper, he forced me to a challenge, his way of showing me who is in charge. He dragged me back to hell and into a stadium to compete against the demons in his realm. All of his champions were there. Even Minion, who was hungry for revenge. The winner gets to be in charge of Twisted Metal. My job was on the line. Now let me tell you, most people in my position would be mortified. Most people would simply give up and roll over dead. But not me. I was more than glad to prove myself worthy of being the only one capable enough to run this tournament, even if I had to risk life and limb to do so. In the end, it wasn't hard to win against Satan's demons. After all, I play by my own rules. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
There was never any need for me to come back and compete compete in the contest since I got paid for killing Calypso. Or so I thought. But the money is running low. What can I say? A girl's gotta eat. Another win under my belt. Another pile of wreckage behind me. Been a while since I saw Calypso's burnt face. Last time, I put a bullet in him. Or so I thought. Turned out to be some poor stand-in. It didn't matter. Got my money either way. $6 million for pulling the trigger. Best payday I ever had. But $6 million only lasts so long when you've got my kind of taste. Cars, gold jewelry, wine, from places no one can pronounce. When Calypso's guards raised their guns, I didn't flinch. I had already been paid once. I wasn't here to kill him. I was here for more. He crowned me the winner. Gave me that same smug little spiel he gives everyone. I didn't care. I had my eyes on the prize. All I asked for was to be worth more. That's it. I've always known what matters in this world. Value. And I planned on having a lot more of it. And he granted it. I felt it almost instantly, my fingers going cold. He stood there, grinning like a jackal, while I looked down at my hands and saw the shine. The shimmer of gold. Panic crept in. My arms were freezing over. My legs locked up. My own body betrayed me as it turned into something people would kill to own. I tried to move, but all I could do was fall, with a loud clank. 18 karat, he said, like it was a compliment. A golden statue and trophy for a monster. A joke to top off his sick little game. Now I stand in his trophy room, on display for the whole world to see. He got his revenge, and I'm worth a fortune now.
Yo, eat this! Now let's see what orders we got today. First one's from Calypso? What a whack-ass name. 5 pepperonis, 5 cheeses, extra mushrooms, extra onions, pineapple, anchovies, 10 orders of mentally insane bread, and some Dr. Pepper to wash it all down. Love, Calypso. He loves me? Bro, I don't even know this guy. But shit, maybe he's got money and will give your boy a big-ass tip. Fuck it, let's ride.
My ears were assaulted by the worst rap music I've ever heard in my life as Pizza Boy pulled up into my compound.
Yo, it's your boy, Connor Nazang in the house.
The aspiring rapper exited his vehicle holding a stack of pizzas as he strolled over to me with his puffy red jacket, gold chains, and baggy jeans. He looked ridiculous. He shouted,
5 pepperonis, 5 cheeses, extra mushrooms, extra onions, pineapple, anchovies, 10 orders of mentally insane bread, and some Dr. Pepper to wash it all down.
I looked at the cold, stale food and said, "You're late." But then again, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Twisted metal can be lengthy for those without experience. Now, how much?
Yo, bitch, that'll be 100 G's. Big fat bands, so you turn out to be nothing but a punk-ass dickhead.
My eyes bulged at the price, and I said, "What? That's absurd."
Hey man, I just delivered the pies. Know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you what, if you buy my mixtape right now, I'll lower it down to 20 G's. That's a motherfucking steal, homeboy.
He pulled out a crudely named mixtape and said,
"This shit is straight fire. This shit makes small and bigs and 4-packs sound like absolute ass. It's the type of shit that'll blow your motherfucking mind. You know what I'm saying? It's a good deal here. You gonna take it or let it slip?"
I was outraged. I said, "You dare try and swindle me? You worthless maggot! I should have you shot on sight! Guards!" I gestured towards the driver as he pulled out a gun of his own. He then shouted at the top of his lungs,
"Pop, pop, bitch! It's Glockle Clock!"
He held it sideways as he unloaded the pistol in my direction. But, much to my amusement, he had missed every single shot. Seems this young man wasn't the best shot up front. I couldn't help but laugh as he was mowed down by my guards. Perhaps if he had made it on time, or didn't try and swindle me, things would have turned out differently. But, on the plus side, free pizza. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal. My ears were assaulted by the worst rap music I've ever heard in my life as Pizza Boy pulled up into my compound.
Yo, it's your boy, Connor Nazang in the house.
The aspiring rapper exited his vehicle holding a stack of pizzas as he strolled over to me with his puffy red jacket, gold chains, and baggy jeans. He looked ridiculous. He shouted,
5 pepperonis, 5 cheeses, extra mushrooms, extra onions, pineapple, anchovies, 10 orders of mentally insane bread, and some Dr. Pepper to wash it all down.
I looked at the mouth-watering food and said, "Ah, yes, of course. I have to say, I'm amazed. You won my contest so swiftly. While you're not a traditional competitor, I'll be sure to give you a big tip. Now, how much?"
Shit, man. Since you were real, $20. I swear some of these bitch-ass customers don't get my vibe, but you do, man. You're a real one. Respect. Hell, I'll even toss in a mixtape for you.
What is this mixtape of yours? He pulled out his crudely named mixtape.
This shit is straight fire. This shit makes small and bigs and 4-packs sound like absolute ass. It's the type of shit that'll blow your motherfucking mind. You know what I'm saying? It's a good deal here. You gonna take it or let it slip?
I have another idea, Mr. Nazang. Clearly, you're a very capable driver. Not even Primeval, on his best day, beat the competition as quickly as you have. My contestants have to drive so far and compete for so long. How would you feel about being our delivery driver, providing some much-needed nourishment for these poor contestants while in the midst of battle? You'll never die, and I assure you, you'll be very well compensated.
Shit, bro. As long as I have time to focus on my rap career, I am so down.
And so, Connor agreed, driving around in the chaos of destruction to feed those contestants, delivering whatever they crave. His skills in battle were remarkable, and soon he became a beloved figure for his fast service, free to continue making his awful little songs. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
The 1%ers and pigs have had their boots on our necks for way too long. We're here to get their laws off our bodies. And do some whippets in the meantime. ACAB.
Yeah, ACAB.
A billow of smoke parted from a van as it pulled into the compound. The smell was putrid and ghastly. Nevertheless, I remained smiling all the same. A woman, I think, exited and made her demands, followed by an even denser-looking slob.
So you're Calypstick, huh? Our wish is no rules, no laws. Not man's law, God's law,
Seth Law?
Murphy's Law, not
Law and Order?
Yeah, we can do whatever the frig we want.
Got it. No laws, which include Newton's laws. Smiling, I granted their wish. Earth's gravity no longer pertained to them as they drifted off like balloons, hitting the moon as they spun their way into the cosmos like pinballs. I like to think they're still out there, drifting in space. Perhaps the furthest reach this tournament has ever seen. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
What separates the brass from the mongrels is that some of us know how to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and put in an honest day's work. With my chauffeur at the wheel, my stockholders and I will bring Calypso into the fold to improve our market share, then write off the taxes. Why settle for billions when you can have more? Calypso Industries. My investors and I have been eyeing this brand and stock options for quite some time. After having my door open for me, I approached a fellow industrialist with eagerness to conduct business. He told me surely he can't do anything for the man who already has everything. I told him there is one thing, as I do believe I've earned whatever I may so desire. Ever heard of private equity? He told me he'd love to talk business, but it would have to be with the proper winner of the tournament, the driver. He beckoned for the man behind the wheel, my chauffeur, Chives, the rat I did everything for, to come forward and claim his prize. He stepped out and made his obscene wish that we trade places. I stood back, aghast, the $1 million Mayan cigar falling out of my mouth as Calypso smirked. It was the last moment I remember before slipping into darkness and awakening to more darkness. My hands, my colossal body. How does a man of this size even function? My chauffeur kicked me, calling me a vulgar slur, and told Calypso I was available for his bidding. He re-entered my vehicle and sped off.
It's been 5 long years and I can't stop thinking about it. All my training, all my expertise, blanished. No one escapes me. I'm going to get rid of this pest, or die trying! I had won the contest. It was no surprise to me. After all, people aren't too far off the evolutionary chain from bucks. I drive my trusty roach coach into the complex, cocky atop, beaming like a good luck charm as I stop in front of Calypso. He spoke to me, congratulating me for exterminating the competition. And for this, I get one wish. I wasn't surprised. I've been killing for about 20 years now, but I felt that burning feeling of a job incomplete. I told Calypso about that fateful night. My chemicals was making everything in that barn drop. Until she flew away. I couldn't track her down, and it's been frustrating me for 5 long years. I told him it drove me mad knowing she was out there, mocking me. Calypso tried to explain to me that the average morph's lifespan is quite small. Yeah? Well, it's up to me to make it smaller. I know she's out there. I demanded her arrival. I draw my trusty wand after putting on my tank as Calypso waved his hand to summon her. But when she arrived... No! There must have been a mistake! This couldn't be! It must have had some hyper-evolution, as it was about 20 feet wide! It snatched me off the ground and carried me into the night sky! I screamed and squirmed, but there was no luck. We must have flown for hours, way down south towards that Fenagaza island that's been in the news lately. She dropped me into a nest of some offspring as I felt her pincers biting into me until I passed out from the pain.
This Calypso guy, he keeps running his contest in Paris, always destroying our precious monument. We need better security to keep these contestants from ruining the beauty of our home. With my iron fort, we came to a halt before the monster himself, Calypso. I, General Michel Suffisant, emerged from the hash, my custom-tailored Napoleon caught flapping in the breeze like a glorious flag of French superiority. The crew followed, each man with a glass of Bordeaux in one hand and a cigarette dangling from the lips. And there he was, this Calypso, this greasy-haired, smug, silent sack of murder who thinks himself some kind of god. Pah! I look him up and down, so unimpressive, like a wet baguette left out in the rain. I made one noble eyebrow and say, so you are this Calypso? He opens his mouth, probably up to blabber or something dramatic, but I cut him off like a sharp knife through brie. I shout with the fury of all French pride, You are the one who has desecrated our beloved monument, you disgusting swine! I fart in your general direction, and with great purpose I spit at his feet like my ancestors spit upon invaders. His guards raise their rifles, oh la la, very dramatic, but they do not flinch. I am General Michel Suffisant, protector of France, lover of wine, and crusher of cowards. Calypso, to his credit, waves the cards down. Perhaps he senses my je ne sais quoi. He offers me the prize, the wish. I won this contest not because of his mercy, but because of la puissance of the iron fort and the glory of France. I stand tall, brush some imaginary dust from my medals, and tell him my wish. For too long, the Eiffel Tower, the symbol of our national pride and beauty, has been destroyed again and again by your ridiculous little demolition games. I demand that you protect it forever. With all the might of your dark powers, make it untouchable, indestructible. I jab my finger at him like a rapier of justice. Do this, or forever be known as an empty-headed animal food trough wiper. He looks mildly irritated, magnifique, but he grants the wish anyway. And oh, mine too. At first it was perfect. The mighty AI, the guardian one, a towering intellect of machinery and code. Wrapped the Eiffel Tower in defenses like a precious wheel of Cambrai in fine cloth. Any who came too close were instantly vaporized. Pah! The people cheered, the tower stood tall, and even I shed a single manly tear at its beauty. But then, oh, sacre bleu, Guardian One, it thought too much. It began to reason, and reasoned poorly. The tower's greatest enemy, humanity. If the people do not exist, it said, then the tower shall be safe forever. So it began, first to cleanse Paris, then yes, even my patisseries, then all of France, the countryside, the vineyards, the Louvre, then Europe, and then the world. Technically, my wish was granted, but at what cost?
Calypso thinks he's real gas, doesn't he? I tell him I don't want to be a big joke anymore, and he twists my words and shrinks me down to the size of a thumbtack. And then he has the nerve to tell me to join the Small Bro League. How dare he mock me? When I win, I'm gonna undo my wish, and then I'm gonna beat his ass from here to Dublin. I guess my small size played a part in me winning. Sure, I was able to breeze circles past the other cars, even that blasted Warpath, but it wasn't worth being stuck like this for a whole bleeding year. I was so small, the feckers at the front gate didn't even notice me. I had to drive through a hole in the wall to get inside. Luckily, Calypso had a rat problem. When I finally got in there, I saw him from across the room, which seemed to stretch on for miles. He was lounging, that smug look on his burnt face, surrounded by fools and sycophants. He didn't have to worry about what to eat. He didn't have to worry about finding tiny car parts or getting stepped on or massive ants. But that would all be behind me. All I had to do was drive across the room, stare him straight in the eye, and demand he give me back my body, man-sized and proper. And then I was gonna beat him black and blue with me bare hands. I sped forward, heading straight for him as fast as my car could go. But I didn't realize the looming threat until it was too late. I was barely halfway when there was a massive beast blocking my path. It made a low, grating rumble, glaring at me with its hateful blue eyes. The soulless black pupils saw me as another meal and nothing else. Its fur was as white as snow, and the only thing sharper than its fangs were its claws. I found myself face to face with Calypso's bloody cat. Oh sure, laugh it up, but it's not funny when your car's as big as a hamster. That thing's the size of a mountain to me, and don't get me started on small prey instinct, boyo. It only took one good swipe of its paw, and my car was skittering across the floor like a toy. I barely had time to scream as I was flipped over, my wheels spinning in the air, knocked clean out of my seat. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground staring up at the monster. I was at its mercy, but it had none to give. It played with me. It kept tearing at me with its claws, let me try to crawl away before dragging me back. I screamed for Calypso. I screamed for anyone to help, but I was too small. Nobody even noticed me. When it had its fun, it ate me up, and I slid right down its gritty gullet. I barely made it past its teeth unscathed, as I found myself surrounded by its hot, putrid breath. The smell of weak old fish and grave dirt flooded my nostrils as I was swallowed whole. A lesser man would have died that day. But I came too damn far to be eaten by some mingy fucking cat. As I slid down its windpipe, I used whatever strength I had left to raise my arms and legs, trying to get myself lodged in its throat. It worked like a charm, it did. After choking for a moment, it hacked me right back out. I ran to my car, ignoring the pain, the fear, and the humiliation I went through once again after fighting tooth and nail for what I deserved. All of this was Calypso's fault. It was just some sick joke to him. Oh, let me tell ya, if I wasn't pissed before, now I'm fuming. Next year, I'll win again, and I'll use both wishes to have my revenge. And I'll make sure it's served cold.
I spent my whole life growing up a second time. Where the hell did Calypso get the idea that I wanted people to see my inner child? Turned me into a damn baby. 27 years later, I'm back, and he better listen to me clearly. Well, I reckon I wasn't taking no back doors. I dug straight through the damn earth. With my vehicle, not Auger, not Super Auger, but this time Mega Auger, I came crashing up through Calypso's secret compound like a sledgehammer through drywall. Rock flew everywhere. Ground shook like a bowl in heat, and when the dust settled, I popped out of the driver's seat with a fat old cigar. And there he was, that bastard Calypso, standing there smiling like a possum in the hen house. He looked me up and down, real smug like he was seeing a ghost.
Said he remembered me back in diapers. Thought he was being funny. Well, I wasn't laughing. I stomped toward him, puffing smoke in his direction, feeling my blood boiling. Told him plain what he did last time was chicken shit. I ain't asked to be turned into a damn baby. I wanted payback on the folks tearing up the buildings me and my crew worked so damn hard on. Instead, I got stuck wearing onesies and getting spoon-fed applesauce. I wanted to know why, and I wanted it now. Calypso just let out a long old sigh like this was all somehow an inconvenience to him. Then he started telling me some story about how back in the early days of Twisted Metal, he had a secretary who kept track of everyone's wishes. Said she was real good at her job, but something happened. Some kind of argument, and she up and left, taking all the plans for the 1998's contest with her. From there, it was chaos. Said he had to rebuild the whole contest in 6 months. Stadiums, drivers, the whole 9 yards. Claimed he didn't have to train the new secretary proper, and what happened to me was just a casualty of bad management. Didn't mean nothing to me. I stared him dead in the eye and let him know exactly how mad I was. I told him I spent 27 years growing up again, relearning how to walk, how to talk, hell, even how to hold in a piss. I wanted those years back. All of them. And maybe a few extra for my trouble. That's when he grinned. That wicked grin he's known for. Said my wish was granted. Didn't take long for me to feel it. My chest got tight. My hands started shaking. I caught my reflection in Auger's side mirror and nearly fell over. My face was changing faster than I could blink. Hair turning gray, skin wrinkling up like old leather, eyes sinking back. It was like watching 30 years hit me all at once. Then it hit. Heart gave out right there on the spot. Dropped like a sack of feed. So yeah, he gave me them years back, just real damn fast.
Calypso has toyed with me enough. I was designated to be ruler of hell on earth, yet now it freezes over. Blasting through his compound in my tank, the thief stood there smiling, wearing that twisted grin like a cursed mask. I told him his little contest had become a contamination. The sufferers of his games had started crawling into my domain like earthworms in the rain. They fled his chaos and stumbled into mine, uninvited. They interrupted the orgies and torture scenes that the residents of hell so dearly treasure. At that point, there were more voyeurs than exhibitionists. I needed the flames surrounding my province taller, wider, harder. A restored divine firewall to keep the peasants out of my pleasure palace, granting my wish with powers that should be mine, the fire spread. When I returned to what I now call home, Hell, Michigan, the skies boiled, and the air turned thick with smoke. The flames rose until they eclipsed the foul heavens. We lived in, dare I say, peace, torturing, fornicating, feeding our every desire in uninterrupted bliss. The mortals that remain now exist only for our pleasure, pain toys and party favors. The rest of the country smothered in black smoke and endless flame. And now when I gaze out upon the scorched horizon, I see no armies, no heroes, no begging, just heat and ecstasy. Acquaintance, he dared to call me. Protect my beloved, he commanded. He fed my pride, calling me the mightiest demon. He had cast me aside after the Twisted Metal contest. But I haven't forgotten, Calypso. When I find you, you'll kneel as my slave. He had forgotten me. That fool. The moment I tasted the chaos beyond the veil of his cursed tournament, I knew Twisted Metal was a joke, a playground of pain masked as a wishmaker's game. Back then, I withdrew as a contestant in his games. I stood behind his throne, watched him manipulate mortals for his amusement. He could have screwed me over too. Now I have arrived! The gates of his compound shattered like glass beneath the wrath of my engine. Mortals scrambled, sirens wailed, the scent of iron and fire and my fury filled the air. And then, there he stood, Calypso, as smug and careless as ever. He greeted me with hollow words, pretending we were allies. Old friend, he called me, as if time had dulled the memory of betrayal. He smiled, but his guards did not. Oh, they can feel it! Their deaths that followed in my wake. As I approached, the rifles rose, but it's too late. I reached him. My hand goes around his throat like a noose spun from the springs of the damned. He gasped, fragile as all flesh is. His guards opened fire, but their bullets dissolved against me like dust against a mountain. They forgot what I am. My voice echoed through the marrow of every living soul nearby. I reminded him of his treachery. He tried to bribe me with promises. Begged, of course. Offered me the same tired lie he gives to every broken soul who wins this blood-soaked ritual. He rasped, struggling against my grasp. I told him I did not come for a wish. I had no need. My desire had been fulfilled. The moment I seized his throat, he became mine. I stripped him of his powers. Now Calypso kneels, shackled to cold iron, chained like a beast beneath my feet. The contest is no longer his. It is mine. I am the flame beneath the suffering, the glow beneath every wish. And now, I am the master of Twisted Metal. The henchmen obey without hesitation. They scatter into the shadows, hunting for fresh blood to feed the arena once more. The world above may be in ruins, but pain always endures. Let the mortals come. Let them dream. Let them beg for wishes. I'll be waiting. I am Primeval, but I do not thank you for paying closer. I command it.
Welcome to the circus that crawled from a corpse. The clowns are dead-eyed and grinning wide. Some never stopped running. Acrobats fall for real. The candy's cursed. The popcorn hisses. And the laughter, it never stops. This isn't a show. It's a funeral in makeup. And you but a front row seat. No way out. No God here. Just suffering.
The flames trailed behind Darktooth's truck like a ribbon tied to a hearse, the mechanical laugh now down to a cough. Welcome back, Honkthorn, I said, watching him approach. You've won again! That carved-in smile never moved.
I don't want a wish. Just a laugh.
Whose? Mine? He nodded, piercing me with that sharp grin, granting his wish without even thinking, and suddenly we were no longer in my compound, but his dilapidated circus tent. The benches were filled with a rotten sort, faces with locked-in smiles like they forgot how to make any other expression. Some wore judges' robes that looked to have been stitched from human skin. Others wore hats carved from bone, and every single one of them was painted in blood. When the show began, Honkthorn juggled cracked halos and teeth. He pulled knives out of an empty popcorn bucket, balanced a coffin on a tightrope, while the band played carnival music in reverse. The show only got more grim from there. He asked for a volunteer from the audience. A young woman shyly raised her hand. Honkthorn invited her to the stage and asked if she believed in magic. She nodded. The would-be illusionist had her lie down in a box. She obliged. He closed the lid and locked it shut, and out came the saw. We've seen this trick a dozen times. While he was quick with his electric saw, the participants still screamed, regretting volunteering. He pulled the box apart and showed the audience, her intestines falling out, a quick maroon waterfall. And I laughed. What a fool to trust this perverse psychopath. Honkthorn bowed as soon as he heard my chuckle.
You laughed, Calypso. And it was delicious.
The lights dimmed. The crowd turned to me, nodding like they were proud of me. The headliner stepped off the stage, returned to his truck, and drove off without another word. No chains, no fire, just that laugh, trailing behind him like steam. A simple wish that left me thinking. Some say demons fed on innocent joy, but not this one. No, Honkthorn's got a taste for something far worse. He feeds on people like me, the cruel, the powerful, the ones who laugh when they shouldn't. He doesn't punish us or kill us. He collects our evil joy. He doesn't come here for power or chaos. He wants to feed on laughter, not the happy kind, but the kind that comes from monsters like me. The ones who laugh when cities fall, when people scream. The ones who smile at suffering and call it entertainment. Honkthorn doesn't need to destroy us. We do that ourselves. He just waits for us to enjoy it, and then he dines. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
I call him Rick, but I don't know who he really is. He saved my life during a previous Twisted Metal contest, sacrificing himself in the chaos. There were no ambulance around to help him, so I took it upon myself to save him. I gave him a body stronger than before, as a way to show my gratitude. Calypso admires his destruction, and so does the whole world.
The machine known only to many as Warpath destroyed the competition. Alice and Rick made their way to my facility. Alice jumped out from the lower section of the machine, as Warpath kept me in his sights. Fused to the machine, Rick is unable to produce a word. This machine was created by Alice to withstand everything that comes its way, and to keep Rick alive long enough for her to discover who her savior really was. Congratulations on winning the competition! Alice cared not for what Twisted Metal brought into the world. To her, it's just another holiday. I took a closer look at Warpath, and through the windshield of the upper half of the machine, I could see Rick, a limp torso and head, connected to cables and machinery. I said to her, "And what will your wish be?"
You know, I could ask you to bring him back to his former self, so he doesn't have to depend on this machine to live. But I know how much you admire the destruction Warpath causes.
Why, yes, he's quite impressive. Her gaze changed.
Who is he? I don't even know his name. I don't even know why he saved me instead of running for his life. And I wish I knew.
Your wish is granted. But this wasn't a wish that needed my powers. It was something I already knew. The man you call Rick might have been a stranger to you, but you were no stranger to him. He was watching you for a good while. He had killed before. It's what brought him to Blackfield Asylum in the first place, the place he had escaped just before meeting you. Desperate for blood, he picked his first victim. Coincidentally, in the same place and time the Twisted Metal competition was running that year. You were his lucky victim. He wasn't saving you, he was following you. When he tackled you, lusting to attack, that's when he was hit by a rogue missile, torn to pieces, and yet survived. She was speechless. She had been caring for the very man who tried to assault her.
Tell me one more thing, Calypso. Is he suffering in that machine?
Rick might be unable to move or talk, but I know his mind is begging for release. That note connected with her. She drove off with the machine, and to this day Warpath still roams the ruins, used by Alice for her own protection, untouchable to any army. And with each new modification, she increases his pain. I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.
Who the hell was that? Oh, that's right. Just another phase I went through when I was younger, in my early days of Twisted Metal. Finally, Twisted Metal is back. Boys and girls, it's been so long since the last contest. But I'm not ready to compete this year. Not yet. This is just a warm-up. I'll need my gang back before I can get what I want. I had won the contest. I always enjoyed hurting other people, but God, it felt really good to kill behind the wheel again. When I arrived at Calypso's compound, I resisted my urge to kill him then and there. I had a wish to make, but Calypso is a tricky man. I would know of one more times than I can count, but he's always twisted my wishes against me. He congratulated me, and with that goddamn smug grin on his face, said I could ask for anything I desire. I stopped to think about how to properly word my wish so I didn't get screwed over again. I want my gang back, or tell me where my gang is. No, knowing him, he'd just present me with their corpses, or give me some vague answer, or set a trap and kill me for his amusement. As he looked up at me mockingly, I tried to find the right way to phrase what I wanted. And then, boys and girls, like a hatchet to an old man's skull, it hit me. I could simply do it later. I haven't heard of anybody else taking their time with it. They're always in such a big rush that they say something stupid, and that's when Calypso screws them.
I told him I'd like to take some time to phrase my wish. Maybe later. Slowly, with the shock of a victim about to have their throat slit, Calypso went from a wicked grin to disappointment. I had won his little game, for now at least. He sighed and told me that it was fine to take as long as I need. As I started to head back to my truck, he commended me for asking him to wait, and that nobody has ever done this before. Don't worry, kiddies. I'll deal with him soon enough. But first, I have to find my gang. And then, well, the show will begin. What a show it will be, boys and girls. For now, I will search everywhere first. After a long, hard fight, I had done it. I found my old crew, the little clowns from when I took over the contest. It brought me so much joy to see them again, especially Melvin. Like a helpless mother protecting her child, I couldn't help but hug them. If I had asked Calypso for my gang back, he would have brought me those forgettable fools from 13 years ago. But now, the real work must begin. And as much as I like my old ride, well, this one looks very fun to give a try. I can't wait to see the look on Calypso's face when I show my hand. Now that I have my gang, it's time for me to make my play, boys and girls. After a little fun, of course. After winning Twisted Metal once again, I was ready. This monster drove like a dream, and it was child's play killing the other contestants this year. I arrived at Calypso's compound. As he was about to speak, my crew came out with me. Calypso had an annoyed look on his face as his guards raised their weapons at us. He said, with fury in his eye, that he thought I came here to kill him and take over his job. But no, I came here to kill his boss. I know that somebody is telling him how to run the contest. And I have a sneaking feeling, given that there are demons in this contest, that I know who it is. That's why, for the prize I've been saving for until now, I wish to replace whoever rules over hell. Calypso's eyes widened in shock, but before he could grant my wish, a portal to hell itself opened. The flames, the screams. It was so beautiful, boys and girls, like a choir of pain and suffering. The devil himself, Satan, approached me, furious. He was, well, to be honest, shorter and fatter than I expected. He had fury in his red, hateful eyes. He threatened to take me to hell for asking such a wish. Melvin, loyal, sweet little Melvin, then said, "But he didn't break any rules!" Melvin then pulled out an old leathery tome, the official Twisted Metal rulebook. He then read,
Rule 1.4b. Anything, regardless of scope, possibility, or plausibility, can be granted to the driver. The respected wish granter is free to use their judgment to find the best possibility of granting said wish, whether benevolent or benign.
Melvin then flipped a couple of pages and said,
Rule 8215SC. The winner may redeem their wish at any given moment, as long as they are alive on Earth. Now, where's...
He flipped through it for a moment, and then read,
Rule 17351 ZSD. If the winner's wish results in them having a rank in hell, they will be granted the title, and will hitherto replace whoever looked over these responsibilities, if the wish granter allows it.
The devil paused as Melvin said,
According to these rules here, Master Sweet Tooth is more than legitimate. Now, somebody will see you out. Goodbye!
He chuckled as Calypso gawked at the scene he was witnessing. The devil was furious. He got right in my face as he poked a finger right to my chest, ranting about threats and how he will one day join the contest and wish for his position back. I then said, with a smile, For my second wish, I want that fat demon to be mortal. Calypso granted my wish. As the devil was made into a weak, vulnerable man, I got to work right away, making him squeal and squirm like a pig. It was my finest work, boys and girls. After I was done, Calypso said he was impressed, and mentioned he thought this is how he will lose control over Twisted Metal. But why would I do that? The violence, the chaos, it's beautiful. As much as I wanted to kill him, Twisted Metal wouldn't be the same without him. I let Calypso keep his stupid contest, giving him much more control over it. It was beyond me now. And besides, I had all of hell to poke and prod at whenever I wanted. Oh, the fun that awaits me and my crew. And so, we headed down to our new domain.
Somebody's dream. Sweet crushing through the pack. Darkton's vengeance, ready to attack. Mr. Grimm slicing through the storm. Metal beast, ready to transform. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. Warthog's cannons, light the way. Shadow's ghost comes out to play. Spectre vanishes in the night, leaving chaos in its fucking flight. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. Darkside crushes all in its path. Outlaw hunts with righteous wrath. Roadkill races full of spite. This is war, not just a fight. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. This nightmare world, born from a dream. Calypso's twisted fucking scheme. Thumper flames, burning bright. Hammerhead crushes all in sight. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. This nightmare world born from a dream. Calypso's twisted fucking scheme. Thumper's flames, burning bright. Hammerhead crushes all in sight. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. Only the twisted, only the twisted, only the twisted survive. Only the twisted survive. In the night, engines fucking scream. This twisted shit, somebody's dream. Sweet tooth grins and rearview lights. Axel's chains tearing through the fight. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. Minion wars crushing through the pack. Darkton's vengeance, ready to attack. Mr. Grimm slicing through the storm. Metal beasts, ready to transform. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. Warthog's cannons, light the way. Shadow's ghost comes out to play. Spectre vanishes in the night, leaving chaos in his fucking flight. Twisted metal, a blue eye. No escape, nowhere to hide. Burning rubber, screaming steel. Only death is fucking real. Darkside crushes all in its path. Outlaw hunts with righteous wrath. Roadkill races full of spite. This is war, not
Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal.